Oh, ini nih banyak. Kali itu saya mungkin itu kali itu dari beberapa ini ikut ini lah itu tuh. Kalau di putih mah pegang punya dengan langsung. Dan kalau sudah itu, kita malas. Jadi kalau kita ini ada financial. Tahu dari bayi kita ini. Đúng rồi, cái điều gì thì cái mình nó
We'll start the continuing the discussion of the taxation of non-resident persons. Right? Before the previous instruction. So in the target section 2, that covers the chargeability of income tax. Right? It says person will pay taxable income. Colombo, Srilanka income tax. Right? So thereafter say when you work out the taxable, we need to work out. That's why income. So it says when we work out the income shares, in case of the resident person, there they talk about non-resident person. How they are eligible to Sri Lanka income. They are eligible for Sri Lanka income tax. They have income which is there is a source in Sri Lanka. That income should be generated from a source in Sri Lanka. In such case, they are chargeable for Sri Lanka income. Source in Sri Lanka. There should be a source in Sri Lanka. And income should be generated from a source in Sri Lanka. And that source in Sri Lanka is in case in the transaction of the non-resident. What is source in Sri Lanka? Right? So that thing, section 72. 73. 2 says that what is source in Sri Lanka. 73 gives exhaustive list. What is meant by source in Sri Lanka? And each category of income. The service pay payment to non-resident person is treated as the source in Sri Lanka. If a resident company declares dividend, the recipient in non-resident person it is also treated as a source in Sri Lanka. Likewise, it says employment, dividend, interest, service fee. It says realization of asset. That's the charge. That's as per the 11 law, right? So having said that, it says in case of the non-resident person that if the resident person make the payment, he is supposed to deduct tax at the time of remittance of payment or the time of making the payment. That tax shall be treated as final withholding tax unless there is a permanent establishment. But if permanent business location in Sri Lanka, then whatever payment he is receiving from Sri Lanka, he is treated subject to withholding tax. Subject to withholding tax, final withholding. Subject to withholding tax. Right? So that withholding tax also happening. It is final withholding unless there is a permanent establishment. Right? So that is the chargeability as per 11 law. Right? How that non-resident person is liable for Sri Lanka income tax? This is the way. He has a source in Sri Lanka here. Yeah. Right? So when the resident person makes that payment, obviously if he is getting any income, that resident person makes that payment, right? Otherwise there is no need to get that payment. So at that time he has to deduct that. It says it is final withholding. It is treated as final withholding unless he has a physical business location in Sri Lanka. Physical location in Sri Lanka. Right? So then say we are making a payment to non-resident person, service payment by a resident person to non-resident person. So at the time of payment, he has to deduct tax. In case of the non-resident person, assume that he is deducting tax according to. Right? So that tax shall be treated as final withholding. Unless that particular non-resident person has a permanent business location in Sri Lanka. Permanent location in Sri Lanka. Right? It is final withholding. Say we are paying $100,000. So 14,000 need to be done as tax. Right? He need not to pay any more tax in Sri Lanka because it is final withholding. For the total amount we are deducting tax and fees. Right? So the banking mechanism has been set up in a way to collect the tax unless the tax clearance is or the tax confirmation given by the tax authority, bank is not permitted to remit that money outside Sri Lanka. Right? Clear? So that is the charge bill. So reason is we need to discuss this one. In case of the non-resident person, he could be a resident for another country. If the residence principle is following, the resident country where he get that income, he is also liable for tax. Right? So, a person who is resident in this country, he is having a income from as well as he is having an income from country where he is treated as non-resident. The both countries they are deducting tax because, as I mentioned here, on this income we are deducting tax, and also that income will be considered for this country if it is followed by that particular country, and that particular country also they are taxing. Because you know that in case of the Sri Lanka context, so if person is become a resident person for Sri Lanka tax, so we are not bothering about where that income is generated. Wherever the income source, right, we need to consider. So therefore, we need to pay tax on our money or the service fee income received from outside Sri Lanka at the particular country, as well as that income will be considered for Sri Lanka taxation. So then there is a chance of having double taxation. Country which calls source country also deducting tax. Country we call resident country also taxing the same income. Same income is taxed at two countries. We call two tax jurisdiction. Same income. Right? Same income source is taxed at the source. So therefore it is called double taxation. Right? Double taxation. We call double taxation. Same income source taxed at two tax jurisdictions. We call double taxation. Right? Because of that double taxation, the transaction between countries or the international transaction, or we call cross-border transactions, are discouraged. Because of that, I told you, say, if that particular person has a business location in Sri Lanka, he may not be liable for tax at 14%. He has a business location in Sri Lanka. He is also treated as a person in Sri Lanka and tax at 30%. Apparently, say in this country, resident country is tax rate is 40%. It's the same income. So, he tax plus at source country at 30%, as well as it could be taxed at the resident country at 40%. Tax is at 70%. Therefore, that type of transaction are discouraging because of tax, not any other things. Yeah, I mean, there may be so many cases to discourage international transactions. Just like say, if you are going to make an investment in, assuming right now Israel, no, we are not going with the Israel investment, right? Because of the war. So we are not going to the North Korea because of their country policies. Right? Like, there are so many cases, but this is common issue to all countries. Is that because all the countries I told you that taxes are plain, taxes are there, import, they are imposing tax. Because of the tax, the transactions are discouraged. Therefore, countries are going with some sort of arrangement, some sort of arrangements to avoid double taxation. Avoid double taxation. Right? Avoid double taxation. Some the provisions are included to the domestic tax law as well. But they have a mechanism to eliminate double taxation. Eliminate double taxation. Right? So it goes as double tax avoidance agreement. Double tax avoidance agreement. DTA. Double taxation avoidance agreement. Right? So there are two models in the formation of the agreement, but it's an agreement between two countries. They are mutually agreed. Mutually agreed how to eliminate double taxes. How we should treat taxation on the transaction between two countries. Right? It's an agreement. So agreement we call DTA, DTA, tax treaty, tax convention, whatever name called, it's a synonym. They are synonyms, but it is called as agreement, right? It's coming as an the part of the domestic tax law also, but it is supersides the domestic tax law. It has the most power. Right? If there is a double tax agreement, first we have to check what is the legal, the provision or the application of double tax agreement before we apply the domestic tax. Right? That's how it goes. Right. So OECD is that Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Basically, they are more towards to developed countries. UN, United Nations model, that is more towards to the source country. They are more towards to the resident principle. They are following the resident principle. That's the difference. They are most preferred to the follow with the resident principle. They are believing that resident countries should have the taxation. So UN model, they are giving some sort of opportunity to the source country to tax, get some sort of tax, right? So that's how it's structured. So otherwise, there is no big change right now. Even OECD and UN model, they are now with the harmony. The new agreements are with very, they structure in a way to give the fair and tax right between source and resident country. Right? Now Sri Lanka have 45, now 46 or 48 double tax agreement right now and negotiation. Double tax agreement so domestic tax law 11, right? And however, if any provision of the domestic tax law give more beneficial tax treatment to non-residents, so that is the resident. Given to the residents, so non-resident also entangle that benefit. I would say double tax agreement says that tax rate should be 15% on some income with that, but tax in case of the domestic person or the resident person, its tax rate is say 12%. Then non-resident person also can apply that 12% tax rate. And say if we are doing a business in Sri Lanka, say we are taxed at 12%. If non-resident person also coming to Sri Lanka and doing business, they also can go with the preferential tax rate, which resident person can enter. Even the tax rate is higher than the domestic tax rate in the double tax agreement. That's the article is there, we call non-discrimination article provision. The article says non-discrimination, right? Right. So basically, there are so many tax treaties, but we are discussing on income tax treaties or double tax agreements for income tax. So, limited taxation of shipping and air operation, that's also administrative assistance, so sharing information that happen we have SRAC countries, between SRAC countries to share administrative support, assistance, and sharing information, and limited tax treaty just like Hong Kong. We have only for shipping and airline operations, right? Right. So, objective of double taxation treaty is mainly elimination of double taxation, of taxation and tax avoidance. It's avoid double taxation, not avoid taxation. Only double taxation. And like, who shall have the taxes like this? If you some sort of solution, okay, you say this country saying, okay, this type of income you taxing in your country. This type of income we are taxing in our country. Or we will tax at the rate which is not burdensome to the taxpayer. Right? Facilitating cross-border trade and investment, prevent tax discrimination, provide consultation and support to resolve tax dispute, promote foreign investment. These are the objectives of double taxation agreement. Not only avoiding double taxation, it's support in a many ways, especially country like Sri Lanka to bring foreign investment to country, because you can see that if the tax rates are high, that investment are discouraged. Right? Right. So in the agreement, so that is the last discussion. So we just have a look on that. What is the structure of the agreement? Right? Title and preamble. Chapter 1. Scope. So in the agreement, it goes as article, not section, subsection, not there. It goes article and paragraph. Article 1 says who are the person covered under the double taxation act? Who can get that the elimination, double taxation, that type of facilities under one agreement. 2, tax. What are the taxes covered? Right. Chapter 3, definitions. So agreement also gives definition. Now you can see in Sri Lanka tax law. So 24 of 2017 Act. It's a developed act. So most of that principle has been picked from international law, which followed by the double taxation agreement. Right. So they are given the definition, resident, definition for residence, and for what is permanent establishment. So that article 3, 4, and 5, they are very unique to all the agreements. Thereafter, article 6 to article 21, general, talk about another element or the category of income. It's like, say, 6 is on agricultural, that type of 7 is business profit, 8, 9, dividend interest. Likewise, it goes. Right? So, taxation of capital gain tax, or the realization gain of the capital asset, and exemption method, how to eliminate double taxation, method of elimination of the exemption or the credit method, right? And thereafter special support to how to give that benefit to, or support in exchanging information, that type of facility also provided by the agreement. Say this country, that particular person is doing business in that country as well as in Sri Lanka. We can directly appeal to the tax authority using the double tax avoidance agreement to get that information about that particular person. Unless it is not possible. Right? We cannot get information from a person outside Sri Lanka for taxation purpose. It is with that their law. They can say, okay, no, we are not sharing information with you. But as if there is a double tax avoidance agreement, we can directly approach to tax authority and get that information. Right? Right. So in that, you see that everyone will we'll take one agreement. Last time, the last week, I'll show you that agreement. That is Sri Lanka, China double tax agreement. We'll try to understand how they have structured. That it is coming as an gas certificate. Extra gas. Right? It has been ratified by the parliament. Therefore, it is part of the law. You remember when we discussed the structure of the law, it says that the tax should be imposed, reduced, give concession. It should that authority is in the legislature or the parliament. Therefore, that this is also coming as a gazette notification. It is ratified by the parliament. Right? So in 2005, they have a component agreement. It says that this is it is hereby notice under section that is the previous 11 Act at that time, but we had and relate for double taxation and for the prevention of fiscal evasion with respect to taxes of income. It's covered taxes on only income. You can see that it is not covered by what type of taxes. Territorial tax, just like VAT, SSC, it is not covered. It is only income. Taxes on income. Income tax, basically. Right? So in that day, government of Sri Lanka, that parliament has been approved by the parliament. Parliament has approved. But otherwise it is not. This has, this is taken so many time, the period to finalize because most of country has to go with their proposal, thereafter negotiation, and then come for an agreement. Thereafter, ratification process is started, and it should be in line in the law. So, strict law as well as international laws, right? Interpretation and what is this provision of the domestic law. So, they are, tax law cannot be violated. There should not be a violation. As well as that, it should be approached or the focus on the objectives. The government of services, right? It's in Sri Lanka. What is the agreement? And then it says person covered. It says so the agreement shall apply to person who are resident of one of or most of the countries. Resident, only for resident. Right? So that agreement is available. That facility or avoidance double taxation facility is available under the agreement only for resident of one of the country. Right? Not for others. Of the China Sri Lanka agreement covers president of Sri Lanka as well as president of China, not president of India. If somebody is coming to China, say they are resident of another country, coming to China, if that person is doing business in Sri Lanka, that facility is not available. So they are not resident of China. Right? Limited to the resident. Benefits are limited to the resident. The taxes count, it says the agreement shall apply to taxes on income, only income, imposed on behalf of the contracting state of its local authorities. Because in Sri Lanka, we have in the central government, they are imposing taxes. In some countries, just like say Canada or US, they have separate state. Income tax also different from that it's state. Taxes law. That's law. Right? You can see you can say that Canada, they have HST, VAT, GST likewise goes. Right? Rates are different from the state to state. So therefore, it says that's why in Sri Lanka we have the the central government they are imposing taxes, but it could not be the case. Local authorities coming with that thing because if they also have that authority to impose taxes, if it's the case, that's also covered. Right? There shall be regarded as taxes on income, all taxes imposed on total income or on element of income, including taxes on gain from the alienation of movable or immovable property, as well as taxes on capital acquisition. So in 2005, actually, in Sri Lanka, we don't have capital gain tax, but that agreement address is the realization. Alienation means realization of movable or immovable property. Then it has that is also covered. Right? Profit on disposal of assets, realization of assets. Right? In 2018, actually, we introduced realization gain from the tax on realization of investment assets, capital gain tax. That is also covered in advance in the agreement because that particular that's what I mentioned. So in other countries, that capital gain tax was there. Therefore, it is internationally it is there. Therefore, that also addressed. we need not to worry about. The existing taxes to which agreement shall apply. Existing taxes. And thereafter it says, the agreement shall also apply to any identical or substantially similar taxes. That they are futuristic, forecast for the future. It says, these are existing taxes. Not only that, identical and very similar taxes to income tax. Is the country coming with? That is also covered. That is also covered. That's the meaning. Right now we are calling, okay, it is income tax. That is after some time, in future they are going to impose other taxes which is also on income. It is also covered. Right? The competence authorities of the contracting state shall notify each other of any substantial changes which have been made in their respective taxation law within a reasonable period of time after such change. So it should be communicate between countries. Okay, right now we are going as income tax. If you are going to introduce another tax, we have to give that information to the respective country. This should be shared. Okay, now we are going with this type of taxes. That is also covered, right? Thereafter definition. It says, you can see definition. General definition. The term Sri Lanka. So they are defined what is Sri Lanka. That means the territory of domestic social republic of Sri Lanka, including its land territory, internal waters, and territorial sea. Airspace above them as well as the exclusive economic zone and continental shelf, where the domestic social republic of Sri Lanka exercise so any hereafter exercise sovereignty rights. And jurisdiction in conformity with international laws and national legislation. So, where the Sri Lanka law is applied, that particular area is written as Sri Lanka. I told you, say, previous time in the prior to 2000, say, in that particular period, 2005, we didn't have that port city. Port city. Substantially it is. The subsequently it is development, it is adjoining to Sri Lanka land. That is also covered in that particular period. Even port city also covered as per DTA. It says, where the Sri Lankan law is execute, that particular area should be considered as Sri Lanka. Not only land, it could be sea, air space as well. Right? Because seabed. So area. The China means Republic, the People's Republic of China when used in the geographical sense. Means all the territory of the People's Republic of China, including this territorial sea, in which the Chinese law related to the taxation applies. And any area beyond this territorial sea within which the People's Republic of China has sovereign rights of exploring for or exploration of resources of the seabed and its subsoil and superficial water resources in accordance with the international law. So it should be recognized as per the international law as in the country. Right? The term contracting state and the other contracting state means Sri Lanka or China as the context required. Says now we are going with the contracting state and other contracting state. Right? You have to be very familiar with that part, otherwise you cannot understand what it is saying. So contracting state means if I am reading from this side or Sri Lanka side, contracting state means Sri Lanka. Other contracting state means China. Right? For the China side, if I am reading, contracting state means China. Other contracting state means Sri Lanka. That's how it goes. Right? The term person includes an individual, a company, and any other body of person. The term company means any body, corporate, or any entity which is treated as a body, corporate, for tax purpose. The term enterprise of a contracting sales and enterprise of other contracting means carried on by a resident of a contracting state and an enterprise carried on by a resident of the other contracting states. The term international traffic means any transport by a ship or aircraft operated by an enterprise of a contracting state except when the ship or aircraft is operated solely between place in the other contracting state. The term nationality means an individual possessing in the nationality of the contracting state. A legal person, partnership or association derives its status as such from the laws in force in the contracting state. So, competent authority means Sri Lanka, the Commissioner General of India, India, the state administration of taxation of its authorized representative. So, what is meant by they are given the Article 4 talks about who shall be resident. For the purpose of this agreement, the term resident of contracting state, now contracting state right now, Sri Lanka, means any person who under the law of that state says any person as per the law of that state. First thing they are giving that okay, the domestic law says this is resident, that resident for this purpose as he is liable to tax therein by reason of his domicile, residency place, residence, place of management, place of head office, or any other criteria of similar laws. Thereby reason of the provision of paragraph, you can see that paragraph says paragraph. This goes as article and paragraph. Article 4, paragraph 1, article 4, paragraph 2, like this goes. Right? Oh, an individual is a resident. So as the individual is a resident of both contractors, then his status shall be determined as follows. It says, as per the domestic law, first thing it says, the term resident of contractor means any person who, under the law of that state, is resident. So as per the law, is any person be resident of both countries? And that's a dispute. In Sri Lanka, we say, okay, somebody is staying in Sri Lanka, say more than 3 months or 4 months or 90 days, he shall be resident for Sri Lanka. China says, okay, as per the China law, if somebody is resident in physical person in China 180 days or whatever thing, then he shall be treated as resident. So as per the domestic law, both are resident. Right? In Sri Lanka law says this is it. So Article 4, first that residence is stated says, as per the domestic law, if it is resident, then shall be treated as resident. But with countries, then how to in case of the Sri Lanka, I say somebody is residing in Sri Lanka, shall be treated as resident. India says okay, somebody is physical person in India, say so China say 90 days, he shall be treated as resident. Now, as per the domestic law, he could be resident in China as well as he could be resident in Sri Lanka. Then how to solve this issue? Say shall be determined as follows. He shall be deemed to be a resident of this state in which he has permanent home. He shall be deemed to be permanent home. Available to him. If he has a permanent home available to him in both states. So, and first thing is said that okay, as per the domestic law, resident. The country again domestic law he could be resident. Then it says, agreement says, okay, which country has the permanent home, that particular country shall be treated as resident. If you have permanent home in the both countries, then home available to him in the both states, he shall be deemed to be a resident of the state which his personal and economic relations are close. That means which country has the personal and economic relations. Right? Personal and economic relations. Say they are doing business. What is the main business he is doing? In which country is doing? We'll see that. Say both countries. Now, first thing is that as per the domestic law, we have to determine residency. Residency is as per the domestic law. The both countries getting the permanent. The residence state. So then permanent form is which country? In the permanent is available in the both countries. It says vital of interest. We call vital of interest. Century of vital interest. Vital of interest. Which country he has more economic and what is other thing is personal relation. Right? Personal relationship. Just like say his bank account, most economic relationship. That's the say business 90% is in China, 10% is in Sri Lanka. The vital of interest is for China. So then it that country shall be given as relationship. Right? So second thing. So if the state in which he has his center of vital interest cannot be determined, or if he has not a permanent home available, vital of interest is country is minus best 50-50, right? And permanent home make a country is minus best. So then it says shall be deemed to be a resident of the state in which he has an habitual abode. What is habitual abode? Habitual abode means where he willingly, he likes to live. He likes to spend his time. Which country? Right? Foreign country they are very from in the Camry. Right? So this context we can see that personal relations. So family or make another thing. Family is very hard. Right? Wife in the monoton. Wife in the other. So yes, that vital interest or habitual level. Right? So based on that, we can determine which country he shall be considered as resident. So then it says if he has an habitual abode in the both country, after they can answer, or in neither of them, they can answer. He shall be deemed to be resident of the state on which he is national. Yeah, he is national. Nationality, one country got nationality. That country shall be deemed as resident for tax purpose. Nationality. Nationality can generally country got right? So where that area he born. It can take a nationality income. Right? And then api mona di bangare dia Sri Lanka. Kai pudam. Right? Yeah, USA for the country gas, yeah, he already stayed. America. Like that. Right. If he has a nationality of both states, where allowed or neither of them, one country can nationality. The competent authority of the contract says shall settle the question by mutual agreement. Then it says, okay, competent tax authority as per the number tax resident of the local business location in Sri Lanka, tax rate is 14%. So Lanka again, whereas in other cases, may tax rate සමහර resident tax exempt වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. මේක non-resident status දාලා හැම country එකකම tax ගෙවන්න. So fine in the charge මෙතනින් නැති කරලා. You can see. It doesn't support to avoid taxation. Fiscal evasion කියන්නේ එක. Fiscal evasion එකට prevent from fiscal evasion. Country එකට එන දෙන tax revenue එක නැති කරන්න support කරන්නේ නැහැ නේද tax evasion. It support to collect tax. You can understand, right? Right? Make apply in adjustment is we call time waster. The technical term we use time waster. කොහොමද dispute එක ඇති කරන්නේ residence එක individuals වල. So company එකකට හරියන්නේ apply වෙන්නේ නැහැ. යාර ඒක තමයි fine කරලා. අපේ country එකේ resident වෙනවා. That's why especially let's talk about individual person. Whereby reason of the person of the paragraph 1, a person other than an individual is a resident of the both contracts. The competent authority of the state shall settle the question by mutual agreement. rather than individuals. Nama computer authority. And in case of the legal body for the person created by the law. Created by the law means itself there should be one law should be applicable in the country. Otherwise, I mean the incorporation there should be a law. In that particular country, residence go. So therefore, there is no question of that change in residence in case of the legal person, natural persons like the Tamashuri. Right? So that's you can see that double taxation agreement facilitates to resolve any dispute, especially in residence, because residence is very important. Why? Issue the non-resident double taxation apply residence and non-resident. Residence not apply resident Lanka. Income double taxation. Right? Non-resident Lanka then issue is right, that is Article 4. Therefore, Article 4 also very important in settling our residential status. But if that domestic law, tax law very clearly mentioned that residence or non-residence, so then we can go with that. If there is a dispute, we have to go to the Article 4 and read that paragraph 2 in case of the individual and paragraph 3 or 1. To sort out residential. Is that clear? Any question? Yeah, that's what it says. So then we have to go with that. Where is the insulin? Where is permanent home? That's the other. How do we so number of days he said. Which family so these two they are very strong. Again, legally 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 so ideally it should be that alone of freedom. I says that you have to go with that agreement. Mutually agree with the country's tax law. Okay, there that was not there. Ekade got nahi. Ekade chune. Reside ki lag raha hai. So reside ke naam beta me kara. Resident of the country. Domicile is domicile resident place and where is to khane. Ekade naam reside kiya gaya. And it was the one. Physically person. Number of days can be the and government employee and individual work in a Sri Lanka. So why is go capital person to residential state? Right. So then permanent establishment. Right? Permanent establishment. What is meant by permanent establishment? Let's say in case of the Article 5 says permanent establishment. Permanent establishment. That it says permanent establishment means a fixed place of business. Fixed place of business. To which the business of an enterprise is wholly or partly carried out. He says what is permanent establishment means? Fixed place of business. Fixed place of business. Fixed place of business where that enterprise is carried out. One of these kinds. Right? Wholly or partly carried out. Allocation of taxing right to jurisdiction for business profit. This is applicable to allocation of taxing right to business income. Accordingly, business profit is taxed exclusively in the state of residence of the enterprise, unless tax in the other state. It says business income is taxed only in the country where it is resident. So taxing right for business income is goes to country of residence. So that means those country doesn't have taxing right. Those country cannot tax business income unless there is a permanent establishment in the other country. Right? In that context, first thing, in the business income, taxing right goes to country of residence. They are having taxing right. Right? Business location, permanent business location. In other countries, the country means country where he shall be treated as non-resident. He shall be treated as non-resident. If they have permanent establishment, that country also having taxing time. That's how it goes. Right? So remember here, this talks about business place and enterprise carried out, not individual, enterprise carried. Right? In such case, taxing right goes to the other. If there is a permanent establishment exists in the other state, profit attributable to the such permanent establishment can be taxed in the other state. And profit attributable to that particular permanent business location shall be taxed in the other state. Right? So basically, say person who is a resident for one country, or that enterprise who is a resident for this country. This is country B. If in the country, your business in other country, right? Business doing in other country. If it is resident in this country, that business income. Right? So the other country doesn't have taxing right. The source country doesn't have taxing right. Business country has the taxing. If that particular enterprise has a permanent establishment, means what is that? Fixed business location, fixed place of business. In the other countries, then that country also have taxing right. Says profit attributable to the permanent establishment. Profit attributable to permanent establishment can be taxed in other country. Right? This is very important. Clear? So, shall we read again that permanent establishment? What it means? It says, means a fixed place of business to which the business of an enterprise is wholly or partly carried out. Allocation of taxing right to jurisdiction for business profit. It says, which country that business profit should be allocated. So, Article 5 talks about business income. Right? Which country should be taxed. And accordingly, business profit is taxed exclusively in the state of residence. The taxing right first goes to the resident country. That country can tax that income. Right? Having said that, says if that particular enterprise carried out that business to a permanent establishment in other country, then that country also have an agreement. Right? That's how. Say you remember section 73 when we read section 73 only so many are covered. But in case of the article importation, අපි article එකක් import කරනවා නම් item එකක් import කරනවා කිව්වොත් that is also in only the resident. They are business. Then we import some raw material from outside Sri Lanka. That particular person is doing business. He is an unresident person for Sri Lanka tax. ඒක කවරලා දෙන්නේ නැහැ. 73 only. You remember employment income, interest, charges, and that type of things were there, but not in connection with article. Goods imports and sorry, goods import means අපි ලංකාවේ කෙනෙක් import කරනවා කියන්නේ so other countries somebody is exporting. That's their business. They export that article to Sri Lanka. They are not responsible for Sri Lanka tax. 73 doesn't address that part. Right? So if a such case, if we have the permanent establishment in Sri Lanka, the profit that put the permanent establishment tax in Sri Lanka. Right? Clear? Right. So what is permanent establishment? So we'll first check what is permanent establishment. Rule applicable for determining the permanent establishment. This is not there in the internal law or the taxation act, right? So we are following the basic rules. Then construction based fee, agency type fee, service type fee. So basic rule says fixed place of business. Right? Para 1 says fixed place of business. 2, which the business of the enterprise is wholly or partly carried on. So then it should be fixed place of business. There should be a location. We have to check whether there is a location. Whether that particular location is permanent location, permanency, and whether that business is carried to that particular location. If it is the case, we realize there is a fixed place of business, it shall be given as permanent establishment. Right, that is as per the Para 1. I can show you in the double tax agreement what we write. Article 5. This is China, Sri Lanka, Article 5 says permanent establishment. It says for the purpose of this agreement. For the purpose of this agreement. The term permanent establishment means a fixed place of business with the business of enterprise is only for partly carried. Right? The permanent establishment includes specifically. It says these things should be included. But in the Para 1 says where the business is carried out by the enterprise. If the place is permanent, that's a fixed business place. We can recognize that that's the place they are doing. Whether it's a permanent place, yes. If the business is carried out through that particular place, yes, then it shall be given as permanent establishment. And thereafter it says, Para 2 says, the term of permanent establishment includes. These things are specifically includes. Right? Include. It says a place of management, a branch, an office, a factory, a workshop, and mine or oil or gas well or quarry or any other place of extraction of natural resource. Right? If these type of things are there, definitely that's a permanent establishment. Yes. It says include specific. Specifically, we are include place of management. The business is managing that particular place. Yes, it is. So a branch, that's a branch. Yes. An office. Yes. A factory. Yes. A workshop. Minor oil gas. That type of activities. Gas well. Right? We are back to that type of thing. It's natural resource extraction point. So anyway, it shall be considered as permanent establishment. So we need not worry about whether that particular place is fixed. So whatever the permanent, so that is not necessary. So definitely it's treated as permanent establishment. We call prima facie permanent establishment. Right? It is prima facie permanent establishment. And in permanent establishment happen. Right? Clear? So that is Sri Lanka, China agreement. That's for that part. Right? Therefore, any information given for we to determine the permanent establishment, first thing, we have to check place of whether there is a place of business, other contracting state. Yes. Whether it is permanent place. Yes. Business carried on through that place. Yes. Then it shall be treated as permanent establishment. Right? How to determine permanent establishment? There is a business place. Yes. Whether it is that there's a location. Yes. So whether business is carried through the permanent establishment. Yes. Then it shall be treated as permanent establishment. Then profit attributable to the permanent establishment of the non-resident person shall be taxed in Sri Lanka. Right? Otherwise, no. We don't have taxation. We cannot tax. Right? If there is no location, no permanent. If there is no location, no. If there is a location but not permanent, no. If there is location, permanent but business is not carried out. No, it is not treated as permanent. Right? So this thing shall be treated as prima facie, the place of manager, branch, and office, factory, workshop, that type of thing. It depends on the agreement. Some agreement says these things are coming under here. This thing, likewise it says. So you have to read that agreement and determine. This is not common to all the agreements, but the definition for the permanent establishment is common. What is that? Fixed business location where the enterprise is doing business. That is permanent establishment. Right? Fixed place of business. Existing place of business. Place of business located at the certain area. Person carried out business activity has right to use the last period of time. That is the first, the part of the how to determine the permanent establishment. So any type of business, it could be any type of business. As I mentioned, somebody is importing item and it's selling from Sri Lanka. That's a selling point or whatever thing in Sri Lanka. Branch office in Sri Lanka. So we, you remember we discussed that HSBC, they have a branch office in Sri Lanka. Now I think you are very clear on that. They shall be treated as that's a permanent business location in Sri Lanka. Right? Say Indian Bank or China Reserve Bank, they have a now they have a branch in Sri Lanka. Branch office. Right? So it's permanent resident. Bank is non-resident person for Sri Lanka. Non-resident, not resident. Remember that. Residents establishment. Resident not, we are not. Resident not tax and anyway in Sri Lanka. Non-resident not, we go here tax කරන්න කියන එක තමයි බලන්න. The non-resident person has a business location in Sri Lanka. Yes. They are liable to Sri Lanka tax as we discussed that. Branch of it, just like say HSBC or the China Reserve Bank or India Reserve Bank, Overseas Bank, whatever thing. They have a branch. On what? Business profit attributable to the branch, not the whole income. Still that person is treated as non-resident person for Sri Lanka. But they have a fixed business location in Sri Lanka where they do business from that location. Then profit attributable to that location is taxed in Sri Lanka. ඒ වගේ bank එකක tax කරනකොට still is posed as non-resident person. They are not resident person for Sri Lanka tax. Right? ඒ දෙක clearly understand කරගන්න. Right? Right. Next one. So ගොඩක් ආර්ටිකල් වලින් අනිත් එක කතා කරනවා construction cost. We call construction based fee. Right? It says building site. Building site. The construction say company which is engaged in the business of contract supply of services of construction. They have only construction location in Sri Lanka. They don't have office, no branch, nothing. But they have construction site. So building site, a construction, assemble or installation project. It's a project, just only project. Right? Or a supervisory activity. It's a supervisory activity. In connection there, in connection to the construction. අපි හිතමු ලංකාවේ අපි ලංකාවේ කම්පැනි එකක් construction එකක් කරනවා. We take export services. What they are doing, they come to Sri Lanka and only they do supervisory activity. They don't have an office in Sri Lanka, no branch, nothing. They are staying at the project. They do supervisory activity. ඔක්කොම percent එක මෙහෙන් දීලා තියෙනවා. Right? So, but only where such project or activities continue for a period of more than 180 days within any 12 months period. Let's say UN model like 6-month period. Agreement of UN. So it says just like site. But it is not permanent place. Right? It cannot be treated as permanent place. Right? Enterprise non-resident person කරන්නේ ආගේ කෙනෙක් කියවන්න පුළුවන් ලංකාවට සුපර්වයිස් කරන්න. නැත්නම් මැෂින් එකක් කියවන්න. Construction. Say construction as a we are going for a say 24, 20, 30 or 50 storage building. So filing කරන්න ඕනේ. අර concrete දාන්න යට. So they are sending only filing machine. Machine එක දීලා ඉතින් මෙහි කවුරුත් නැහැ. Nothing. Nobody is in Sri Lanka. Right? No office. Right? What they are doing? Construction. So, so you know that in the expansion of Colombo Harbour, northing and but the sorry western is Queen. ඒකේදී ඒගොල්ලෝ කරේදී ආර කැලේ ගෙනල්ලා ලංකා හයි කරා. Right? ඕන ඒ වගේ නාම එහෙම ගහලා හයි කරා. Assemble point. Assembling විතරක්. Right? You know that in front of the Colombo rail station, central rail station. There was a flyover ඒක මෙහාද බලන්න. ඒක පිටරට හැදුවා ලංකාව ගැන ඉස්සරහට. පිටරට ගෙනා කියන්නේ so non-resident person. He came to Sri Lanka and only fix that item place. That's happening in a big way in the southern expressway. And expressway. ඒක තමයි යනවා. ඒ වගේ දේවල් හදන්න ගියාම දැන් ලංකාවේ මේවා දාලා මොනවද settling ගහලා එහෙම නැහැ. Concrete block ගෙනාව fix කරා. Even building. I know very well. In some building, the prefabricated buildings in other. Yeah, fix කරන්න උදේ. It goes as assemble. You can see. Assemble installation project. The communication tower. මේ යකට උණු කරලා කම්බි හදලා එහෙම හදන්නේ නැහැ. කැලේ installation. Machine එකක් තියෙනවා. You remember during that COVID period. They bring that part මෙමෝ කරන මොනවාද මේ press කරන මොනවාද කියලා. ආගම සුඛා. ඒ press කරන කෙනා machine එක. ඒක පිටලා යනවා. ටයිම් නම්බර් දෙකක් තියෙනවා හිතේ. ඒක කාලේ වැඩ කරන්න හැටි So just not it, but that's not the impact. So it's that it could be a assemble or installation project, but in the construction BSP number of days is report says how many periods they are spending in Sri Lanka. That project එකක් කරනවා නම් කොච්චර කාලයක් ලංකාවේ ඉන්නවද? So is that it me? Then it shall be clear that about understanding. Otherwise, not. But remember, so now that this is just like they don't have that branch or whatever. If they have a branch for the construction, they make a dollar. Not important. Why? The previous anyway branch is treated as common business. They have a office in Sri Lanka, not two. Even natural domain. Just reason is why. As I mentioned, in case of the thing on the highway highway project, that project is conducted by Sri Lankan company. Maybe. Right? They're just coming and doing something and they are going back. Lanka project so we cannot figure out whether there is a office. No, nothing. Branch, no. Calling to machine just like you can see that you know that what is this port city and also that highway sort Mudu Aligan and moving Aligan. Take a look at it there and one of the special only supervisor thinking, no? That's only. Right? It's over the office branch. But this is what type of thing? So supervisor activity or that type of thing, right? It is coming under this one. Right? In China, Sri Lanka, again. It says, Village side, the construction, assemble or installation project or an installation of drilling rig. Drilling rig. Or ship used for the ship used for the exploration development of natural resource, including supervisory activity in connection with the area, but only where such site project or activities continue for a period of more than 100 days, typically 12 months period. So it shall be declared as permanent establishment. So then profit and permanent establishment for tax in Sri Lanka. Right? So next one is we go service-based fee. Service-based fee. It says the furnish of service. That's only applicable to furnish of service, including consultant service. Including consult service by an enterprise through employee or other personnel engaged by the enterprise for such purpose, but only where activities of that nature continue for the same or connected projects within the country for a period aggregating more than 103 days or in 12 months period. For 12 month period. So that is service based. First thing is construction contract. Second thing is service contract. In that context, how to determine the what is this permanent establishment? Right? It says if that enterprise is doing consultant service in Sri Lanka through his employees, again there, the exam එකේදී ලකුණ ඇතුළත් දැන් මම කියන්නේ නෑ බා. කලින් වගේ මම සිම්පති ගන්න ලකුණු දෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right, Bharat, I'm very. I'm given effort to this thing. So if you, I mean, they're not willing to listen, what can I do? Right, Mama, I told you, I made a key again, Mama, Magi standard. The teaching or the paper standard. Right? හැබැයි දෙන්නවනේ දැන් මම දැක්ක සමහර ළමයි ඉඳලා තිබුණා මොකද නම් දෙන්න නැහැ ඒකට ගොඩක් අය ආස කරන්නේ නැහැ even not when this charter එකේදී ළමයි ගොඩක් අය යන්නේ මම දන්නේ නැහැ ඇයි කියලා හරි ලේසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහන්න but that concept you should understand ඒක නැත්නම් ආන්සර් කරන්න බෑ and also I believe this is very special area මම හිතනවා ගොඩක් අය first time මේක අහන්නේ කියලා taxation over මෙතන කලින් ඉගෙන නැති but this reading how to read that DTA මේක ගොඩක් අය ඉගෙනගෙන ගියාට පස්සේ සමහරට තේරෙන්නේ. ආයි සර් මේක ටැක්ස් එන්නේ ආයි සර් මේක ටැක්ස් එන්නේ නැත්තේ. මේක also very practical. Right? අවුල apply කරනවා නම් මේ international relation payment වලදී අනිවාර්යයෙන් මේක import tax වෙනවා නේද? සමහර අය හිතන්නේ deposit tax වල agreement එකක් තියෙනවා නම් tax වෙන්නේ නැහැ. This is not the case. Right? I know මම යන department එකේ මේ වගේ issues වලට සමහර අය වගේ ඒකෙදි කියනවා නෑ මේක tax වෙනවා කියලා tax එකෙන් කියනවා. Because as per the section 3 or the 2 or whatever it says payment එකක් කරනවා tax වෙනවා ඕන එක. හැබැයි මේ agreement එකක් තියෙනවා නම් සමහර අය tax වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ලංකාවේ. You can see. Right? Right. So it says furnishing of services including consultancy services. Consultancy services. By an enterprise through employee. Consultancy services කරන employees ලාලා. ඒ කියන්නේ consulting services එකට ඒ organization එක ලංකාවෙන් වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. branch එකක් හදන්න ඕනෙත් නැහැ ලංකාවේ. Right? Example like say we are assuming that now we are going for introducing say some sort of management process to one company. Right? So then we can say just like we can get that consulting services from person outside Sri Lanka. They are coming to Sri Lanka and they do that services in Sri Lanka. We facilitate them. So how we approach to say අපි මොන හරි company එකක් ලංකාවේ එළියේ ඉන්න කෙනෙක් ගත්ත කෙනෙක් say just like McKinsey or whatever. ඒගොල්ලෝ ලංකාවේ branch office දාන්න නෑ. They are sending their employees only for that particular contract. They come to Sri Lanka and do that consultation. They are going back. සමහර ලංකාවේ ඉන්නේ නැහැ. Through internet they can do that services. Having meeting and everything. It's happened. Right? So then අපි බලනවා මේ condition එක is satisfied. Yes, it shall be treated as permanent established. Right? You remember, I don't know whether you remember that the keys එකේ කලින් තිබුණේ color එක මොකක්ද කියලා මතකද? Keys කොහොමකට කියන්නේ? Red. ඊට පස්සේ they changed this to green. Concept is green. Right? Carbon free environment එක කරනවා කියන එක තමයි keys එකේ මොනවාද company එක අයිතිකාරයෙක් කවුද? කාගේ කද keys එක? John keys JK marketing. Keys කියලා company එකක් නැහැ. JK marketing තමයි company නම. Right? මොකද මේ ළඟදිත් මගෙන් අහලා මේ department එකේ ගිය වෙලාවේ මගේ යාළුවෙක් ඉන්නන්නේ ඔව් සුපර් මාකට් ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා keys නෑ department එකේ register වෙලා. හරි පුදුමයි. මම කොහොමද keys කියලා නෙමෙයි බලන්නේ JK marketing කියලා. කියන්නේ JK marketing කියලා තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ නම තියෙන්නේ. Company එකේ නම JK marketing. The logo is keys. Right? ඒ change කරන go and even they change their appearance. Change the appearance of the stock, how they have put it in their shares. This should be the first thing. ඕගොල්ලෝ බලන්න keys එක ගෙවමින් හොඳට බලන්න. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ කොහොමද strategy එක කියලා. ඕගොල්ලන්ට ඒක item එකක් ගන්න කියලා හිතාගෙන යනවා. සුපර් මාකට් එක බලන්න පුළුවන් ඒ item එක විතරක් අරගෙන රේසියමෙන්ට අතේ සල්ලි ඒ ගන්න විතරක් තිබුණොත් අර කාට් එකක් ගන්න යන්න පුළුවන්. So how they have done that? That's how they goes their revenue. යෝනේ අනුම ගානේ මම දන්නේ. අනුම ගානේ 5000කට යහපත් ටිකක් ගන්න. සාමාන්‍ය විදියට. That's how they change. Location එක ගොඩාක් මුද ස්පේස් එක වැඩි කරලා තියෙනවා. So you can even සරයි කියනවා cross selling. අපි යන්නේ digital ගන්න ඒගොල්ලෝ තව දිනවා juice එක පුත් හදලා. ඊට පස්සේ fresh item තියෙනවා තව කන්න මොනවද තියෙන දැන් කියනවා keys එකෙන් කවුන් තවල. බලන්න හදන ඉතින්. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ marketing concept ඒගොල්ලෝ අසන්න use කරනවා. That's how they attribute that consultation done by Australian company. I know that. So they came to Sri Lanka, they study, but they didn't stay in Sri Lanka. So if what argument is there, apply when ඒ payment එක කරනකොට මගෙන් අහුවා ඒකයි tax වෙනවද මේක නැද්ද කියලා. මම දන්නේ ඒකයි. So return agreement we have agreed. So Sri Lanka, Australia double tax. We have a double tax agreement with Sri Lanka, Australia. ඒක තියෙන විදිහට it doesn't create a permanent tax in Sri Lanka. Even they came to Sri Lanka and stay some period and they did that consultation. Thereafter they changed. They give them what the report to the management, they implement. Management implement that report on the suggestion or the recommendation or the plan taken by the company. That's how it's done. And remember that there is no permanent establishment in that context. Consultancy services, management consultancy services. ඒගොල්ලෝ වෙනම මාතෘකාවක් නෑ. Construction කියන ඒගොල්ලෝ හදන්නගේ නෑ මේවා. ඒවද ලංකාවේ අය. ලොකේෂන් එක මේ වගේ ෂෝන් කියලා consultation එක කරගෙන ඉස්සරහ කරා. ඊවන අර මං කියව අර ship එකක් ඩෙන්මාර්ක් කම්පැනි එකට තමයි ආවේ. දැන් වැලිකොට දැම්මේ. මොකද මේ වැලිකොට දැම්ම කම්පැනි එක ඩෙන්මාර්ක්. ඒගොල්ලෝ ටික කාලයක් ලංකාවේ ඉන්නවා යනවා. හැමදාම ලංකාවේ ඉන්නේ නැහැ. සීසන් එකේදී වැලි ගන්න බෑ මුන්. ඒක කාලේ ඒක ලංකාවේ නැහැ ඒගොල්ලෝ වෙන ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකක් කරා මොඩියුස් එකේ. එහෙම හැබැයි ඒගොල්ලෝ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ඩෙන්මාර්ක් ඩබල් ටැක්ස් ඒගොල්ලෝ සැකමෙන්ට් එකේ ඉඳලා ඒගොල්ලෝ ලංකාවේ කොමඩ් එස්ටැබ්ලිෂ්මන්ට් ක්‍රියේට් කරනවා. Chips that cost natural resource extraction of coal mining of liable to tax. You can see it's very practical. That's the primary. Right? It's actually in a big gear right now because we have so many transactions internationally right now. And then Lanka business karna හැමෝම වගේ දැන් international transaction එකට connection. ඔයගොල්ලෝ බලන්න පොරොත්තු but the organization you are working. එකපාරක් කරේ එනවා payment එකක්. Right? So therefore it is very important. සාමාන්‍ය රුපියල් 30000කට හරත් ගන්නවා tax එකක් clear කරන්න practice කරන එක. tax consultancy කරන. මම දන්න විදිහ. tax clearance එකක් ගන්න. So if you know this thing you can do. It's a matter of reading this thing in apply. But knowledge එකක් තියෙනවා දාන්නේ. ඒ බොරුගේ ලගේ බෑ. Because they are masters, the tax authority now looking at masters. They know that how to read this thing because ගොඩක් අය දැන් ඉන්නේ මේ ඉගෙන ගත්තා. international law ඉගෙන ගත්තා. අර tax master tax එක කරපුවා. Even I know that some chartered accountants are going in the department. Right? ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා දැන් ඉස්සරහට Sri Lanka is going with digital invoicing system. So dia සතියේ මම meeting එකකට ගියා. Not from Sri Lankan tax from coming from Kenya. Kenya goes with the digital tax invoice. ඒගොල්ලෝ physical invoice දැන් යන්නේ. 90% of the Kenyan economy is now digitalized. ඊළඟ අපි level එකට තමයි යන්නේ. the taxing no and the amount of I mean the digital base may agreement to level touch color. The last by digitalization Ramadan agreement right? Then you know that in international context the transaction happening. So we are making payment, we are doing online business. You can see that you know that Amazon name there is no business, physical business location. Right? So marketing කරන ගොඩක් ඒවා වගේත් නෑ. ඔය ඉන්නාගේ location එක තියෙනවා. ඔයාලට පුළුවන්. නෑ. So but there is a big impact to tax. So we make මෙතනින් තමයි chances දෙන්නේ කොහොමද ආවල්ල ගන්න taxes වලට. ඔය domestic law එකේ හැම provisions නෑ. දැන් ඒක වෙලකේ register වෙලා දෙනවා. ලංකාව හොයාගන්න බෑ කොයි රටේ register වෙලාද කියලා. සමහර register වෙලා නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Still. For the tax purpose yes, but it says that this is called as service-based fee. The furnishing of services including concerned services by an enterprise through employees. Yeah, enterprise again employees are through consultancy. It's triggering permanent establishment. But this also includes the period. How many period? What the number of days that project should be go, that consultancy agreement should be goes by enterprise to employee or other personnel. Other personnel. What is mean by other personnel? Other person. What do you mean by other person? So that enterprise can hire another person. Then, just like McKinsey Lanka Lanka project. McKinsey, they can send their experts team who that they are part of their employment. Employment team meeting oh, that company can say they can hire another expert, and that expert can to Sri Lanka. That is, they are not their employee. Right? That person, they are not employee, other person. Even other person they are sending and doing that consulting services. How many days? It's as per the China agreement. It says 103 days or more during any 12 month period. It shall be trigger a permanent establishment. Profit attributable to permanent establishment is tax in Sri Lanka. Right? කිලිසගේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එක කන්සල්ටන්ට් ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එක මාස දවස් 140 වඩා ලංකාවේ ඒගොල්ලෝ කවුරු හරි ඇවිල්ලා ඉඳලා හිටන් කරා නම් the profit attribute to that permanent is creating permanent establishment. That service fee is liable for Sri Lanka tax. Otherwise it is not liable for Sri Lanka tax. Right? Clear? එතකොට ලංකාවේ tax එක නැත්නම් අපිට 114 අඩු ගන්න පුළුවන්ද? Then domestic law එක කියන්නේ any service fee payment. ලංකාවේ කෙනෙක් කරනවා අඩිෂනල් කෙනෙක් වෙනවා නම් pay කරනවා අඩිෂනල්ට it shall be treated as a source in Sri Lanka. Then another person has a source in Sri Lanka, they are liable for Sri Lanka tax. When the person make the payment, he has to pay 14% tax. If the agreement says that tax in the permanent establishment is තිබුණොත් විතරයි. නැත්නම් tax එන්නේ නැහැ. Can we tax them? No, we cannot tax. 14 අඩු ගන්නත් බැරි. That's the time value. So one domestic law against supersede කරනවා. But double tax errors agreement. අනිත් country එක වගේ යෝද? Then yes. That's it. Okay? Right. That is service based fee. We'll have a break and then see other one. All-level kami තමයි course එක පටන් ගන්න. මොකද ඔගේ exemption පටන් ගන්න O-level වල නෙමෙයි. කොමර්ස් ස්ට්‍රීම් විතරයි. Bang, arti kita dana sudah. Army itu kemana? No problem. Mana? Okay. Okay.
Mana sudah itu kan nih, formula itu kan mah jadi kita tanya soalnya kita tanya formula ini, sama sama kalau sudah kita kalau sudah kita mana sudah itu baik kalau kita ada part itu saja, ada apa ini, terena utteri Lagi happen din ano na siya.
Agad na naman, ito na yan. Tingnan na natin.
Yan sa amin ba?
Kami bahay.
Zero.
Jangan hati, udah kapan anda mulai kiri-kiri yang bebas, pandangan media, Right? Right, we look into the other part. So now, permanent establishment, how we should trigger. Permanent establishment, what is the meaning of fixed distance location? Fixed distance location to where they do their business. Right? So it says these things are anywhere fixed distance location. Whatever thing is there, that is right. But it says we call service based. It says activity based. Activity based. It could be construction. Yes. What service? Service based outbreak attack. Right? So that is also coming under the permanent establishment. This is 1, 2, 3. So if we cannot see whether there is a fixed distance location or specified location, then it goes to this one. Okay, right? So next one. So then activity test. So construction close, yeah, period, threshold estimate. Activity card, building site, construction, assemble, or installation, development, that type. They are not including concern service and that blah blah blah. So that is also period needs to be considered. How long they are doing that? It's depend on the agreement to agreement with K, right? So China agreement says 160 days. I could say that in India agreement is something else. Vietnam agreement is something else. We have to read that and there is a permanent establishment no, right? So another one. So agency type P. Agency. So this is little tricky. So agency means agent can agent means he is representing or acting on behalf of another person. Agent means he is acting on behalf of another person. That's why we call agent. Right? So you know that in say simple example say there is a family event. So mother or father they couldn't participate for that event. They will send you as a representative. You are the agent of your family. You represent your family. Right? So then agent is the mind. Just like here we want to check any agent on the non-resident person. That person is a non-resident agent of the non-resident person. Right? Non-resident person. So in such case, this is important. So non-resident person කෙනෙක් ලංකාවේ ඉන්නවා agent කෙනෙක්. Whether he is an independent agent or dependent agent. That is the important point. Independent agent means he doesn't do what he wants to. Independent means he is independently doing business. He is treated as he could be an agent, but he is an independent agent. He is doing business. Agent also doing business in Sri Lanka, but he is an independent agent. Right? But if any person who is a dependent agent, the agent is a dependent agent. So if in such case, dependent agent means on behalf of that particular principal, on behalf of that particular non-resident, he is doing some activity in Sri Lanka, right? Sri Lanka. That means he is representing non-resident. So indirectly says that non-resident is indirectly doing business in Sri Lanka through that agent. Right? We cannot see that. It sees that there is another person in Sri Lanka is doing that business. But behind that person, who is doing that business? Non-resident person. Right? Close that residence system. But actually, what is happening? Agent through agent, non-resident is doing business in Sri Lanka. So we call that dependent agent. Dependent agent. Dependent agent means he is dependent only on this non-resident person. In such case, that particular agent also treated as who is non-resident doing business in Sri Lanka. Right? From there could be permanent establishment. That's how it says. When the following conditions are met, agent could constitute a permanent establishment. Dependent agent or an independent agent acting outside the ordinary course of business. Dependent agent anyway representing non-resident, therefore it seems that non-resident is doing business in Sri Lanka, it shall be treated as a permanent establishment. Right? And also it says an independent agent acting outside the ordinary course of his business. Independent agent කියන්නේ අපි හිතන්නකො goods එකක් ලංකාවට ගෙනවනවා diagram. Okay? So we go to Sri Lanka. Person in Sri Lanka is selling that thing. Just like we purchase from outside Sri Lanka and we are selling. So he may be representing from that particular item in Sri Lanka. But the price of the business, financial dependency, everything is with this person. Right? But in case of the dependent agent, there may be clause that he is the sole distributor in Sri Lanka. He is the sole agent in Sri Lanka. Right? Once the agent come for the agreement, principal is binding. Principal is binding. I would say we are selling, say, just like say, simple example, say we are selling, what is this, mobile phones in Sri Lanka. Right? So we can bring whatever thing, whatever mobile phone. Apple or Android or whatever phone we are selling. So in our place we are selling, okay, Apple agent or whatever thing we can mention. But price is determined by us. Right? We are giving our warranty. That's why some are giving okay 6 months warranty. But in case of genuine product, genuine warranty sometimes it's like warranty. Other than a period, that's agent is giving that warranty. So that means the contract is binding by the agent and the buyer, customer, not the company. Just like you can see that BMW, right? Benz, they are also agent in Sri Lanka. Bahane Munari, it's comparing warranty. Company come and doing that thing. You remember it? What was I saying? Company king company. But you can see that Airbus, Boeing, international company king investigation. Why? Boeing they are not research dependent agent. Company warranty they are worried about. Right? Audi ඊළඟට ඒ වගේ vehicle එක මොනවාරි damage වුණාම product එක පස්සේ නිසා beyond there I mean the thing they take that back. You can remember believe that one vehicle මොනවාරි එකක් ආපු එක there was a technical report they called back all the inventories. Sri Lanka. They mentioned that there is a technical defect, so therefore we cannot. Sri Lankan agent cannot sell that. So dependent agent. ඒ වගේ vehicle ඕගොල්ලන් බලන්න පුළුවන් ලංකාවේ තව ඉන්නවා ඒක ගැන විකුණන. එකක් ගැන තියාගෙන විකුණන. They are not giving company loan. You can see. I want to explain what who is independent and dependent agent. So that's that. So if the Sri Lanka agent is entering into contract, that contract binds the principal, then it shall be treated as dependent agent. And also, agent is not permitted to any other business. අගොල්ලන් බලන්න පුළුවන් ලංකාවේ ඇතුලේ තියෙනකොට business එකට මං කියන්නේ තා එක. So you can see that Manchi or Melbourne agents වල වෙන business කරනවා. ඒ distributor කරන්නේ ඔය agent කරන්නේ ඒ business එක විතරයි. They cannot do any other business. They are not permitted to dependent. They can do only that business, not any other business. In terms of the business. So he is independent agent. So එතකොට අපි මෙයා තමයි හොයාගන්න අමාරු. So now you know that if there's a fixed business location, so we can see this definitely created triggering a permanent establishment. But මේක අපි හොයාගන්න බෑ. මොකද that he is behind this agent. එයා මෙතන හැකිලා ඉන්නේ. Agent තමයි ඉස්සරහට දාන්නේ. Agent is doing business. Now we have to check whether that agent is a dependent agent or independent agent. If it is a dependent agent, definitely shall be treated as there is a permanent establishment of non-resident person. Because agent ලංකාවේ tax වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Agent කෙනෙක් කියන්නේ මොකක් හරි commission වල TA එකකට හරි work කරන කෙනෙක්නේ. අපි හිතමු A කියලා කම්පැනි එකක් තියෙනවා ලංකාවේ පිට. එයා ලංකාවේ B කියලා කම්පැනි එකක් approach කරනවා. Mage goods were okay, you are getting 10% commission on that income. Whatever you sold in Sri Lanka, we are paying 10%. It is your responsibility to execute staff, place, and everything you have done. Even there are sometimes they are reimbursing part of the cost, or sometimes not. But they are paying, okay, we are paying so much, you do that business. So now, ලංකාවේ එක්කෙනාට 10% commission එක කෙනෙක් එයා liable නම් ලංකාවේ නැද tax. කියන්නේ බලනකොට ලංකාවේ. That particular B company is liable for Sri Lankan tax or not? On that business. දැන් ඕන කියනවා. දැන් කිව්වද නම් ගහනවා මේක. liable or not? Liable. Hey, yeah, liable. Ada yang business එක. ඒක නේද අපි යවන්න අල්ල ගන්නද නේ? එනේ අල්ල ගන්නද? Oh, business එක දාන්න. එතන මම කියන්නේ ඒ liable නේ. පීට හැමෙන commission එක එයා liable ලංකාවේ. liable. liable. අයියේ යා liable. Ada moda gomuter dan ya. Liable. Ayah liable. Bang masih review ni kan? Ini kan me. Ini mangga ya nak kali. Dependent lah. Nah. Ada දෙන්න ඕන උත්තර theoretical දෙන්න ඕන උත්තර. මේව නිසා liable. Right? Liable. Fine. So that is that is the liability of the A we are talking about. Yes. Liable. Why? Think where? Liable. Liable. Why? Agent Lanka. Oh, principal lady. So, I'm like agent means in the account. Oh, that yeah, that's my mind. All that, Bagian bijinya ini kan ada. Kita sama dengan answer kan. Tapi balan me, palaini ke balan me country kan. First thing is we have to check the residency status. Be resident or non-resident. He is resident. Resident income yang kena mana working out yang angka taxable. Dari dah. Ege yang ada pulang, iset yang ada pulang. Karing yang tapi dah dah. Baik. Be resident person in Sri Lanka. So therefore, he is liable 10%, 5%. Property and liable. It is not the case. Now we are going to catch the discharge. We cannot see him. Yeah, that's a way. Right. So in this case, when we see that, okay, B is appearing in Sri Lanka on behalf of A. He is acting the role of the A in Sri Lanka. එතකොට අපි කරන්න හදන්නේ A ගේ profit එකෙන් part එක ලංකාවට ටැක්ස් කරන්න. right? අපි නන්දේ දෙනම ලංකාවට ටැක්ස් කරන්න හදන්නේ මොකද්ද? එයාගේ profit එකෙන් part එක. එයාගේ profit එක ලංකාවෙන් එයාට generate කරන profit එකෙන් එයා ටැක්ස් කරනවා. Non-resident is doing business in Sri Lanka. Location නැති නේද? Location එක පේන්නේ නැහැ හැබැයි agent කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. Whether that location is exclusively used by that particular non-resident person with his control. එයා දානවා okay ඔයාට පුළුවන් මේ item එක විතරයි. You can sell only this item, my item, not others. Right? So we are providing your technical support. අනිත් පැත්ත. Operating system එක තියෙන අරයාගේ එක use කරන්න පුළුවන් මෙයාට license එක තියෙන්නේ use කරන්න විතරයි. Especially in the computers and all those ඒ වගේ දැන් මේ වගේ vehicle වලත් එක තියෙනවනේ. right ඒක තියෙන ආකාර විතරයි. එතකොට මෙයා මේ business එක ලංකාවට කරලා තරම් business එක ගන්න ආරයි. right දැන් අපි වලුනේ branch office එකක් දෙනවනේ. branch office එක ලංකාවේ ප්‍රසන්ට් කරනවා ආරයි. යාට මොනවද දේවල් ලංකාවේ කරන්නේ? all the guidelines is done given by head office. ඒකෙන් පිටේ වැඩ කරන්න. just like that. So agent based because the dependent agent means he is acting solely or only for non-resident person. That's why it's called dependent agent. It could be financial dependence. It could be technical dependence. Know-how dependence. Right? ඔයගොල්ලෝ බලන්න දැන් අපි computer software එකක් ගන්න සමහර computer software එකක් ගත්තා පස්සේ accounting package එක ගන්නවා. package එක ගත්තා පස්සේ outlook කරලා we can choose. License එක renew කරන්න. Technical කියලා depend. Otherwise we can use that. License එක renew කරන්න මම කතා කරා. right ඒක විකුණන ලංකාවේ කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා අන්න එයා තමයි ඒක කරන්නේ. right you can see. So then other thing is an independent agent acting outside their normal course of business. Independent agent කෙනෙකුට දෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි එයාගේ normal course එකෙන් පිට වෙන business එකක් කරනවා නම් ඒ business එක non-resident කෙනා. So it's also considered as there is a agent based team. Just like this. I told you that in the Munchie biscuit, that thing, they are doing Munchie biscuit only. That is now dependent agent of Munchie. Right? Say they do another items. Biscuit නැතෝ තාමනාඩි කරන්න පුළුවන් agent. අපි හිතමු distributor කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා එයාට පුළුවන් තාම business ඕනනම් කරන්න. එයා biscuit විකුණනවා හැබැයි එයාගේ විතරයි. right අනිත් දවල්වල තාමනාඩි ගන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් හිතන්න phone ගෙනලා තියෙනවා. Apple ගෙනලා තියෙනවා. So that type of activities are doing. That is the normal course of their business. Right? They are doing distribution service. In addition, especially that ඒ වගේ කරන එකකින් අපි හිතමු අර කලින් කිව්වා වගේ වාහන ගෙනල්ලා විකුණනවා, අල ගෙනල්ලා විකුණනවා, ලූණු ගෙනල්ලා විකුණනවා. That is independent agent. හැබැයි එයාගේ normal business එකේ අර වෙන මොනවා හරි business එකක් කරනවා නම් ඒක dependent වෙනවා නම් then he is also acting on behalf of the non-resident person. Right? In first context is said they are only doing non-resident business. Second thing is not only one particular non-resident doing so many things. Open marketing අපිට import කරන්න පුළුවන් ඕන වාහන හරි ඕන දෙයක් අපිට import කරන්න පුළුවන් import කරලා පුළුවන්. Right? That can be done. So then but independent agent acting outside the ordinary course of business then he also could be coming under the agent based PE current. Right? So these are the facts. Acts on behalf of the principal. He should be acts on behalf of the principal. Agent must have authority to conclude the contract. Agent තමයි contract conclude කරන්නේ. And must habitually exercise this authority. Much habitual exercise means that authority has given to the agent. Okay, you sign the contract. We are responsible for that contract. Right? Legally and commercially depend upon the principal. Legally and commercially depend upon the principal. Legally means there is a contract. Legal depend and commercially also depend. A business can have enough income and he cannot do any other business. They are supporting financially. They are supporting technically. Technical knowledge and some other services to do that business. So depending the legally and commercially depend. Contract negotiation and entered by the agent is binding the principal. That is the report. Contract is signed by agent, but principal is binding. He is the responsible one. Right? Clear? In such case, we call that as a agency relationship, but it is dependent agent. So in that context, there is a B creation on behalf of non-resident persons. Then profit attributable to Sri Lanka operation by that particular transaction, non-resident also liable for Sri Lanka tax. Chargeable for Sri Lanka tax. Is that clear? Right? So, අපිට අනිත් ඒවා ගැන කෙලින්ම හොයන්න පුළුවන්. branch office එකක් right. Yes. workshop එකක්, workplace එකක්, construction and then we can check. But this is very difficult to figure. And very difficult. So, අර මම කලින් කිව්වාගේ goods විකුණනකොට especially. ලංකාවේ කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවද agent කෙනෙක්? Yes. We have to check what the agreement. කොහොමද agreement එකේ legal agreement එක තියෙන්නේ? Principal එක ලංකාවේ කෙනා. Who is concluding contract? He is concluding but binding the principal. යාන මේ responsible understand. මොනවාරි item එකක් defect එකක් අරගෙන ගියොත් okay. We'll send to the company and do that one. Yeah, he's telling you that. Yeah, it's a cover. 2 year or a life for we agree. Right? That's how it's happening. Okay. So that is agency based fee. So service we discuss. So there are another thing that's called, these type of things are not considered as not a fee, permanent residence. Even that it's a fixed business, this location is there. This location is there, but it's not considered as a permanent residence. Right? First thing is the use of facility solely for the purpose of storage, display, or delivery of goods. So merchandising belongs to the enterprise. It's just like say non-resident person, they have a warehouse in Sri Lanka. Warehouse only. So they are inventory sent to India, we locate here. There's a fixed location, right? But they are not doing business through that location. Permanent location, fixed location, but they are not doing business, only storage of goods. Delivery point is Sri Lanka. Right? Storage, display, delivery, goods, so merchandising belongs to the person. Maintenance of sold stock for the merchandise belongs to the enterprise. Purpose of storage, display, or delivery. Stock of goods belong to the enterprise solely for the purpose of processing by another person. That process එක කරන්නේ තව කෙනෙක්. යාට goods දෙන්න ඕන නම් මෙතන stock එකක් තියෙනවා. Right? Fixed place, purpose of purchasing of goods, buying office එකක් තියෙනවා. ලංකාවේ. liaison office එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේ. Merchandise or collection of information, liaison office එකක්. ඒ වගේ එකක්. It's not considered as a permanent fixed asset. Right? You can see that there's a building, there's office staff, everything is there. But only preparatory and auxiliary activities are doing. Right? Not any other business. That type of thing shall not be considered as permanent asset. So condition is there should be this location. Business should be conducted through that location. Here they are not doing just business. Right? In such case, it is not treated as permanent establishment. Right. So and thereafter this thing, an insurance enterprise of a contracting state shall, except with regard to the reinsurance, we need to have a permanent establishment in the other contracting state if it collects premium in the territory of that other state or insures risk situated therein through a person other than agent of an independent status to which following paragraph applies. So that means insurance basically in case of the insurance company. So if they insure Sri Lanka risk, we treat them as a source in Sri Lanka. Now they are liable for Sri Lanka tax. But if they collect that fees and insure risk in Sri Lanka through a still again agent other than independent status. So in that context, it is also treated as there is a permanent establishment. That is insurance, especially for insurance business. Right? The facts that a company which is resident of the contracting state is controlled by a company which is a resident of the other contracting state or which carries on the business in that distance. So then it shall not be considered as permanent establishment. It means this type of thing. Okay. So it means one company is controlling other company. Controlling means what is? Company yang company control करना क्या मुकाद है? Acquire. So what is the acquisition? मुकाद क्या है? Company control card plus you. Point है? Subsidiary. Yeah, shareholding. So that is that is the way. Say. අපි එදම ලංකාවේ පිළ තියෙන කම්පැනි So parent company is outside Sri Lanka. They have a subsidiary in Sri Lanka. The subsidiary means they control they have the controlling interest. We call controlling interest. But if it is the case, this company is controlling this company. All the decisions are taken by this company. It could be. Right? So, just because of controlling that share capital, or the participation that share capital, or the controlling of that one, it doesn't take a permanent action. It's two different legal entities. Right? We can assume that අපි તો මෙයා ඉන්නේ සේ මොනවා හරි manufacturing activity එක මෙයා ලංකාවේ service company එකක් create කරනවා 50% own more than 50%. Now this is parent company, this is subsidiary company. But because of that thing, it doesn't create a permanent estate. If that parent company doing his business through subsidiary company, then there's a chance to create a dependent agent. Otherwise, it is also not. Right? Then example like I can say the singer, they have singer Sri Lanka company. So they couldn't come. Right? It doesn't create a permanent exemption for parent company. It could be 100%, or 80%, or 60%, all company. But it's a separate company. Because of that shareholding, controlling interest, it doesn't create a permanent establishment. But it could be happening in this way. They are sending goods to Sri Lanka. They sell. And also they are controlling the transaction. Just like as I mentioned, they are, because without their operating system, that activity is not working. So it has to, this person has to depend on this person. They are sending their employees to Sri Lanka. මම කලින් කිව්වා වගේ මෙයා ලංකා මෙයා අපි හිතමු සිම්පල් කියලා මෙයා හිතමු මෙයා හදනවා computers. They are manufacturing and selling stuff. That is their business. So ලංකාවේ කෙනා ඉන්නවා එයා කරන්නේ අපි හිතමු electrical item විතරයි. Not computer. Right? They are selling in Sri Lanka electrical items. Right? Computer peripherals කියන එක අනිත් ඒවා just like printers and that type of thing they are doing. මෙයා කරන්නේ අර computers මෙයාරේවා. Right? Now he is acting independently. But මේ computer සේවක computer එක වැඩ කරන්න නම් that they should have the license. Technical and support එක තියෙනවා. It's happening, it's having only that way. Yeah, I can do that. He cannot do that. Now, the American business the computer, Apple and other accessories, they are selling that. They are doing business, so he is a business company, so he is liable for Sri Lanka tax. So for the computer, what he paying for here? Selling through that subsidiary. And this person has sent in their technical support staff, all the technical support, guideline, everything is there. Without that thing, he cannot do that sale. Sell a computer cannot. In such case, there is a chance to create a permanent establishment in Sri Lanka. True. What is the condition? That is also coming under the agency fee. Shareholder, just because of holding shares, it doesn't create an agency relationship. Just because holding shares, it doesn't create an agency. Permanent establishment. Go back to the discussion. Permanent establishment permanent location location accessible always, permanency, yes. And whether this person is doing the business through that location. Yes, if it is the case, then they create a permanent. Otherwise, no. Yeah, Lanka, Panha phone karna, Panada attack phone karna, bhai. Yeah, I can business sector, I will business sector. Just because of having ownership or the controlling interest of another entity, it doesn't create a permanent establishment. නැත්නම් අපි කියනවා යා කරන්නේ අරයා කියන වැඩ විතරයි. මොකද ඩිසිෂන් ගන්න අරයා. හැබැයි මේ ලංකාවේ කෙනා ඒ ජොබ් එක කරන්නේ නැහැ. අපි බලන්න ඕනේ හැම වෙලාවෙම මොකද? non resident ගේ බිස්නස් එක ලංකාවේ කරනවාද කියන එක තමයි බලන්න. එහෙම කරන්නේ. So they tax and non. Okay? Right? Okay? Any questions? So in the parent subsidiary relationship, it is very highly, support to create an agency fee. Right? So parent company can, because if they have controlling interest or the other entities, they can then send their employees, send their experts, and from there, parent company can do that business in Sri Lanka. In such case, then now create a permanent. Is that clear? Parent subsidiary now. Oh. Thank you so much. මෙයාගේ employees ලා ලංකාවට එවනවා. ඒ employees ලා ඉන්න ලංකාවේ parent subsidiary company එකේ ඉඳගෙන parent ගේ business එක. Agent can figure create. Right? අපි මේක දැන් subsidiary එකක් වුණාම යාට යාගේ business එකක් වෙනම තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. I forget all those things. He is doing manufacturing and selling of automobiles. He is doing manufacturing and selling of apparel. Government in Sri Lanka. Two different business. මෙයාගේ business එක ලංකාවේ කරන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි මෙයා ලංකාවේ කම්පැනි එක ඕන් කරනවා 50% තියෙනවා ප්ලස් එහෙම නැහැ කියලා මෙයා ලංකාවේ පර්මනන්ට් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියන එක තමයි කියන්නේ හැබැයි වෙන මෙයාගේ බිස්නස් එක ඔටෝමොබයිල් එක මෙයා ලංකාවේ කරනවා නම් එතකොට මේ සබ්සිඩියරි කරන දන්නේ මේ වෙන්නේ එයා ඒජන්ට් කෙනෙක් විදිහට කරනවා ඒජන්ට් අපි ආයෙ බලනවා ඩිපෙන්ඩන්ට් ඒජන්ට් yes then fine another thing is මෙයා මේ ලොකේෂන් එක මෙයාගේ business එක කරන්න permanent this location එක විතර use කරනවා. In such case, can be trigger permanent establishment. Is that clear? So first thing is, we got back to the initial discussion. Non-resident person, they need to have source of income in Sri Lanka. Source in Sri Lanka. Right? Non-resident person. That means his business should be done in Sri Lanka. Conducting this business එකකට කියනවා business එක ලංකාවේ tax දෙන්නේ if there is a permanent establishment as well එහෙම තුනක් නැහැ right අපි එහෙම හිතමු දැන් කොහොමද ලංකාවේ ඉන්න subsidiary company එකක් තියෙනවා මෙයා කරනවා consultancy service අපි හිතමු තව එක්කෙනෙකුට consultancy service එකක් දෙනවා ලංකාවේ resident එකෙන් මෙයා consultancy මෙයා සබ්සිඩි එක ලංකාවේ තියෙනවා. ඒකේ 50 එකක් යා ඕන් කරනවා, කන්ට්‍රෝල් කරනවා. එතකොට මෙයා හැබැයි මේ කන්සල්ටන්ට් සර්විස් එක දෙන්නේ මෙයා through නෙමෙයි. එයා ඩිරෙක්ට්ලි දෙනවා ලංකාවේ. ලංකාවේ resident කෙනෙක් payment එක කරනවා. Resident person makes the service pay payment to non-resident person. Then he is subject to tax. මෙයා මේ service එක tax නගින අපිට remit කරනකොට ආන්න tax එක අපි අඩු කරලා 14කට කරලා ගෙවන්නවා. 14 අඩි මොකක් කරේ එක අඩු කරලා ගෙවන්නවා. pay කරන එක. මෙයා මේ කන්සර්න් සර්විස් එක ලංකාවේ කෙනා හරහා දෙනවා. යා කන්සල්ටන්ට් කෙනෙක් එනවා ලංකාවට. එයා මෙතන යාගේ සබ්සිඩියරි එකේ ඉඳගෙන සර්විස් එක දෙනවා. now create a agency base fee. එතකොට අපි මෙන්න මෙයාගේ ලංකාවේ profit එක work out කරලා ඒකට යාගේ tax එක හදන්න. ඒ tax එක 14% නෙමෙයි. ඒ tax එක 30%. That's the difference. Right? Clear? දෙවෙනි ප්‍රශ්නේ ඉන්නේ ඔකේ. අකුණු 20ක ප්‍රශ්න. සාමාන්‍ය පේපර් එක. අපි ආවොත් පේපර් එකේ ස්ට්‍රක්චර් එක හස් කරනවා මම දාලා නැහැ. Right? ගොඩක් වෙලාවට group assignment එක දෙන්නේ මම ඕකේ. නේද? resident tax liability non resident වල. ඒක නේද ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අන්තිම හම්බෙන ඒරියා එක? වාර ගන්නනේ මාත් හරි අදාළ වෙන එකයි. It's interesting because it's depend on the once you read that agreement it change with එකම agreement නෙමෙයි අපි ගන්න. ඊළඟට අනිත් agreement stop වෙන්න. ඒ වගේ treatment එක වෙනස්. එකකින් එකට වෙනස්. First එකයි රීල් කරන්න කියන්නේ China Sri Lanka is very simple. I mean, the home of very simple and the development. That's all. So ඊළඟ තව agreements එක අපි read one by one. ඉන්දියා agreement එක ටිකක් වෙනස්. So Vietnam agreement එක තව වෙනස්. බංග්ලාදේශ වලත් එක්ක agreement එක තියෙන එක වෙනස්. Hong Kong එක්ක තියෙන limited agreement එක වෙනස්. ඊගල කින්කට වෙනස් විදිහට කියන්නේ. So then it's a matter of read and apply. දැන් අර මොනවාද සමාන මම දැකලා තියෙනවා සමාන එකද කියනවා මේ tax department එක කියනවා මේක tax වෙනවා. So once we read that thing we can see that it is not tax. දැන් මේ ළඟදීම අහපු ප්‍රශ්නයක් මම කියන්නේ මේ ඉපරේදා අපේ in Sri Lanka company they are going to declare a dividend to Singapore. Right, Sri Lanka is a subsidiary company. They are going to declare a dividend to Singapore parent company. දැන් උරහනවා දැන් අපේ අහුවේ මම අහම්බෙන් එක දැකලා මම කිව්වේ ඒක මෙහෙමයි tax වෙන්නේ කියලා. So ඒක බලුවාම so you know that when the citizen company declare dividend tax rate is this one AID is 15%. We have to have 50% pay respect to the recipient who is whether resident or non-resident. Right? It says what is the resident company declare dividend AID is 15%. But if you are declaring the dividend to Singapore resident person, right? There's another condition apply. Condition is satisfied. So it says minimum 10% or more shall be hold, or 25% or more shall be hold. Then parent subsidy now 25% divided. Dividend tax rate is 7.5%. As per DT. About tax evidence agreement at Sri Lanka, Singapore, you know 7.5. That's the difference. So power of advantage where? See. Right? Right. Okay. Now this one. We'll stop. Once I understand.
Yeah, yeah.